Sanders, quick throw underneath, and that is going to be jet triggered. Williams rumbles into Panther territory.
Slip underneath.
Sanders loads up. Look at a tangled mess along the side.
Watch what happened to Shedeur Sanders in the Cleveland Browns' third and final preseason game. And I'm outraged, I'm sickened, and I'm saddened. By the way, Shedeur continues to be treated in the National Football League now by those sorry-ass Browns and sorry-ass Kevin Stefanski.
Skip Bayless has locked onto a fresh target, and for once it's not LeBron. His new obsession? The Cleveland Browns head coach, who made the baffling call to bench Shedeur Sanders before the rookie even had time to stretch, let alone lace up. Bayless wasted no time unloading a trademark tirade, sharp, fiery, and full of disbelief. The studio felt like it was on fire as he tore into the decision, calling it one of the most boneheaded moves he's seen. Fans watching at home were stunned, and what Bayless said next sent social media into a full-blown frenzy.
Shedeur is QB3 for the Browns. Does anybody here think he should be QB1 this week starting? Anybody? Skip?
I'll go. I definitely think he should start this weekend because if he did, that team would be electrified by him. Because Njoku and Judy showed you through training camp, they love this kid because he's special. He got raised by the athlete I think was the greatest athlete in the history of sports. It's in his bloodlines. He was raised around stars to be a star in the National Football League.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe Shedeur Sanders to the channel. It helps more than you think. Skip Bayless has built his entire persona on inflating small football controversies into headline-grabbing spectacles, but this time the drama isn't small at all. The Cleveland Browns head coach practically engineered a scandal before kickoff by pulling off the one move guaranteed to shake the sports world. Benching Shedeur Sanders before the rookie even got a chance to settle in. It's like subscribing to a streaming service and canceling before the opening credits roll. The decision was so baffling it had Bayless foaming at the mouth on air, calling it reckless, short-sighted, and a slap in the face to the franchise's future. Social media erupted, and even neutral fans were left stunned by the sheer chaos unfolding in Cleveland.
It just makes me want to puke. Nothing in sports has ever angered me more than what the NFL has done to Shedeur Sanders. The Browns showed you their hand by taking Dillon Gabriel 50 slots higher than they wound up taking Shedeur. The head coach Kevin Stefanski did not want Shedeur Sanders. The GM Andrew Berry clearly did not want Shedeur Sanders, but quarterback injuries conspired against the Browns to start with. They were forced, of course, to give Shedeur a shot in the first preseason game only because of...
Skip acted like the Browns had just committed football treason. His expression had that unmistakable gleam, the look he gets when he's discovered a brand new victim for one of his trademark tirades. This wasn't mild irritation, it was full-scale eruption, Bayless at his loudest and most dramatic. In his eyes, this wasn't simply a questionable coaching call, it was a betrayal of common sense, a masterclass in incompetence, and a coach openly campaigning for the title of NFL's most clueless man alive. If poor decisions were handed out like trophies, Cleveland just cleared another space on its already overcrowded shelf to display the latest one.
I said, again, a first guess, before last college football season, he should be the first overall pick. My friend Mel Kiper, who's been doing this for a long time, had him ranked above Cam Ward as the best quarterback in the draft. He fell to 5th because the league wanted to punish him and his father because they don't act the right way for this league. That's not how you do things at this level in this league. My point is, it's the biggest steal of the century for Cleveland to have him. I know Dillon Gabriel because I'm an Oklahoma fan because I grew up there. We're brothers from Oklahoma City, obviously Gerald and I. But the point is, because I'm a Sooner fan, I watched Dillon Gabriel every snap for 2 years. Shedeur is better than Dillon Gabriel.
Shedeur Sanders isn't your average rookie quarterback. He's a walking headline in shoulder pads, the son of a football legend, a built-in spectacle whose name alone makes casual fans stop and watch even when their own team is unwatchable. Players like that aren't meant to collect dust on the bench, they're meant to be front and center, fueling the hype train and selling out every station it hits. Skip Bayless knows this better than anyone, which is why his on-air rant sounded less like a routine take and more like a full-blown prosecution. In his view, the Browns coach wasn't simply making a mistake, he was committing outright malpractice against the very spirit of football.
Shedeur Sanders made the entire National Football League look like a whole bunch of petty fools, racist fools. All those teams that had 143 chances to draft him before he went 144. He shamed all of them, including the Cleveland Browns. He is him. Shedeur can flat out play the hardest position in sports to play. There was no tougher quarterback in America the last 2 years. I said that Shedeur Sanders should go #1 overall.
And really, how do you take a guy like Shedeur, with all the buzz and raw potential, and decide he's better off holding a clipboard than holding the ball? That's like buying front row tickets to a concert and then leaving your seat empty because you'd rather listen from the parking lot. Skip shredded that logic into tiny pieces, waving around comparisons that had just enough truth to sting. He didn't just criticize, he scorched earth. Fans were already suspicious of the Browns' management. Years of questionable decisions have turned suspicion into a full-blown tradition, but this move managed to crank the distrust to new levels. Skip's rant was the spark, and social media lit up like gasoline-soaked fireworks. Memes of Shedeur in prison orange behind imaginary bench bars flooded the internet, captions mocking the coach's brilliance in hiding his best player from the game. People weren't just upset, they were insulted, as if the team thought nobody would notice this level of nonsense. And here's the kicker, this wasn't just Skip screaming for fun, although he does enjoy that hobby. He actually had a point buried under the theatrics. Quarterbacks need momentum, they need the rhythm of real games, not the monotony of practice drills. Every snap is an education, every drive a lesson.
So now it sounds like the Cleveland Browns are going to all but imprison Shedeur Sanders in the football sense of a very talented rookie quarterback who obviously needs reps, needs an opportunity, and who now, barring some miraculous luck, will not get the opportunity to play in a single real game. I'm sure many around the NFL are celebrating as we speak. They are chuckling about this. Many in the NFL wanted to teach Shedeur and his daddy a lesson.
Benching Shedeur before he's even tested is like telling a college student to stay in the lobby because the classroom might be too overwhelming. You don't learn anything from watching someone else take the exam. The Browns coach, in his infinite wisdom, seemed convinced that protecting Shedeur was the smart play. Protecting him from what, exactly? From the job he was drafted to do? From the possibility of making mistakes, the very mistakes that shape great players? Skip ripped into that idea like it was the worst business pitch ever delivered. If mistakes are dangerous, then why play football at all? Wrap everyone in bubble wrap and call it a season. The logic just didn't add up, and Skip was quick to point out how absurd it sounded. Meanwhile, Skip framed the situation like it was the end of civilization. If Shedeur doesn't start, the Browns don't just lose a season, they lose the future, the fans, and possibly the last shred of respect they had left. He painted the coach as a man determined to sabotage his own team, not by accident, but by choice. It was less a coaching decision and more an act of performance art, a bold statement that screamed, "We have no idea what we're doing, and we're proud of it." The fans weren't far behind in voicing the same frustrations. Social media became a courtroom, and the Browns coach was unanimously declared guilty.
Shoot it! Made you look, yeah. Skip Bayless is shooting. And he's gunning for the Cleveland Browns organization. So as you can see, Skip Bayless is pissed off. Yes, he is pissed off. Basically saying, fuck Kevin Stefanski, fuck the organization of the Cleveland Browns. You cannot make this up. Yes, he's cussing out the whole organization of the Cleveland Browns. You cannot make this up. Now, Skip Bayless went onto his platform to air out the shit that they've been hiding during this preseason game. Basically saying, yes, he started naming off names of the players that was on the field with Shedeur Sanders, and there was no names.
Skip wasn't alone in his meltdown. He had an army of angry commenters ready to back him up with pitchforks and memes. The irony wasn't lost. Cleveland finally had something exciting to look forward to, and the coach shut it down like a nightclub that closed before midnight. The disappointment was thick enough to choke on. What makes this even funnier, if you can call it funny in the tragic sense, is that Cleveland isn't exactly drowning in quarterback glory to begin with. The team's history at that position is a rotating circus, and yet when they finally had a chance to inject real energy with Shedeur, they chose to stick with the same old show. Skip compared it to running a carnival where you hide the lion and put the goldfish on stage. Nobody paid to see the goldfish. Part of Skip's genius is how he makes the obvious sound revolutionary. Of course Shedeur should start. Of course benching him is ridiculous. But when Skip says it, it feels like he's revealing a government conspiracy, something so outrageous it couldn't possibly be true, except it is. His delivery makes the audience laugh and rage at the same time, shaking their heads at how Cleveland continues to outdo itself in the art of confusion. The truth is, benching Shedeur isn't just a mistake, it's a strategy that insults the intelligence of the fans.
I think if you're a Browns fan, what you should be optimistic about is the trade they made in the draft and being well positioned for next year's draft, which doesn't do much for you this season.
Right.
But what you get out of this season is you get 3 bites at the apple, right? You get the Joe Flacco bite, and you see if maybe this guy can pick up where he left off a couple years ago, and maybe they can surprise people, play better, win games, be a competitive team. If that doesn't happen, which is entirely possible, then I think you have 2 other bites at the apple with Dylan Gabriel.
It tells them their excitement doesn't matter, their investment doesn't matter, and their patience can be tested indefinitely. Skip tapped into that frustration and turned it into a thunderstorm of commentary. He didn't just tear into the decision, he made it the centerpiece of football's comedy of errors. And the timing couldn't be worse. This was supposed to be the dawn of something new, a glimpse into the future with Shedeur as the face of change. Instead, Cleveland managed to trip over its own feet before the race even started. Skip knew it, fans knew it, and the whole sports world laughed while shaking their heads. It was the perfect storm of bad decision-making, wrapped in the Browns' signature style of disappointing their supporters. Skip's meltdown wasn't just a rant, it was a full-blown public service announcement about everything wrong with football decision-making. He turned what should have been a coaching footnote into headline chaos, and honestly, he wasn't wrong. The Browns coach managed to give Cleveland fans yet another reason to question why they keep showing up in the first place. It's almost like tradition now, new season, new mistake, new reason for national ridicule. And the irony here is so thick you could spread it on toast. Cleveland, a city that has been begging for quarterback stability for what feels like a century, finally has a player with the potential to spark something fresh.
This is going to be the most exciting season I've seen. Because now it's the young and the restless, guiding light, bold and beautiful, General Hospital. This is a soap opera. I get to find out if Kevin Stefanski, can coach up players in a not optimum situation. You've been telling me you like Dylan Gabriel. I want to see Dylan Gabriel play. I want to see if Joe Flacco can rekindle what he had. By the way, you asked about that running game. That's done. Forget the running game. The running game went out the window when Junkins was gone.
That's terrible.
And they moved on from Chubb because they didn't want to keep handing him the football when they didn't think he was going to be nice.
But instead of capitalizing, they shelve him like expired yogurt. Skip pounced on that absurdity, making it sound like the Browns were actively auditioning for a new Netflix comedy series called How Not to Run a Football Team. He wasn't shy about comparing this decision to other blunders in NFL history, either. Every time a promising rookie was left on the bench too long, the story turned sour. Skip rattled off examples like ammunition, painting the coach as a man who apparently never read a single page of football history. The lesson has always been clear: if you've got a potential star, you play him, you don't hide him. And yet Cleveland decided the rules didn't apply to them. Fans couldn't help but laugh at the sheer predictability of it all. It's almost as if the Browns' organizational meetings begin with a checklist. Did we sabotage our chances today? Yes? Perfect, let's move on. Skip, of course, highlighted this with the kind of sarcastic flair that made it sound less like commentary and more like stand-up comedy. He didn't need punchlines, the Browns provided them for free. And really, think about it. What's the point of drafting someone like Shedeur Sanders if you're going to treat him like a backup extra in his own story? The guy has talent, charisma, and the ability to draw attention, but apparently, the coach thinks the bench is the perfect place for all of that energy. Skip ridiculed the logic by comparing it to buying a Ferrari and locking it in the garage while bragging about your trusty bicycle. Sure, the bicycle works, but nobody's impressed.
Just telling you, this young man can play quarterback at the highest level in this league. He is capable of being a franchise quarterback and taking a team to the promised land. I watched him at Jackson State. I watched him for 2 years at Colorado. He didn't have much of an offensive line. He still doesn't have much of an offensive line when he gets in the game, especially today. But he's got the whole package. He's got enough size. He's not huge, but his arm is Brady-esque. It's at least as strong as Brady's.
The whole situation screamed of insecurity, as if the coach was afraid to unleash Shedeur because it might disrupt the delicate balance of mediocrity the Browns have perfected. Skip leaned into that theory, mocking the idea that winning is somehow optional in Cleveland. To him, it wasn't just cowardice, it was sabotage dressed up as strategy. And the more he talked, the more fans nodded along, because deep down, they knew he was right. But here's where it gets funnier. The Browns coach apparently believes that keeping Shedeur on the sidelines will prepare him for the future. How, exactly? By letting him develop telepathic quarterback skills from the bench? Skip tore that apart with surgical precision, mocking the idea that greatness is achieved by watching others sweat. You can't learn to swim by sitting poolside, and you can't learn to quarterback by twiddling your thumbs in a hoodie. Fans jumped in with their own takes, flooding the internet with sarcastic takes that rivaled Skip's rants. One meme showed Shedeur photoshopped as a museum statue, collecting dust while everyone walked past him. Another had the Browns coach labeled as a talent preservation specialist, like his real job was to keep good players hidden from the world. The collective frustration became entertainment in itself, with Skip leading the charge as the unofficial conductor of chaos. And you could feel the ripple effect across the league. Other teams' fans chimed in, shaking their heads at Cleveland's ability to waste potential like it's a tradition.
A couple teams that I won't allow him to play for.
Whoa.
This is my profession. I know what's behind the curtain. We ain't got to get back there for me to understand what's not prominent for my son. I'm not doing it. Ain't
And
no
if he
way in the world.
doesn't listen to you?
Who? No, you must mean owners, like not my son.
Have you told him privately who you would like for him to play for?
It's not like who I would like for him to play for. It's
By the end of his rant, Skip wasn't just angry, he was practically begging the football gods to intervene. He painted a picture of Shedeur sitting there, ready to prove himself, while the coach stubbornly kept him sidelined out of pride, fear, or sheer lack of common sense. And the more Skip hammered the point, the more fans bought into the narrative that this wasn't just a mistake. It was a crime against football entertainment itself. What's incredible is how the Browns somehow managed to do this every few years. There's always a storyline of wasted talent, missed opportunities, and fans left shaking their heads. But with Shedeur, the stakes felt different. He's not just a quarterback, he's a cultural moment, and the Browns managed to fumble that moment before it even started. Skip turned that failure into his personal comedy show, and the audience loved every second.